We welcome to the studio a good friend of ours, Rebecca Herold. You know her as the privacy professor because, boy, oh boy, you need to stay safe. And, man, they are ramping up some of the security things, Jackie, that are unbelievable.
Is now the time of year during the holidays that people are more vulnerable? Would that be the word?
Well, they are, because right now they're thinking, you know, they're in the holiday spirit.
Right.
Plus, they're looking for good deals. So they're looking to get every type of discount they can. So they're going to believe people who are calling and giving them good deals. But also they're kind of vulnerable because when somebody calls out of the blue and says something like, oh, your computer is causing problems and you're going to infect everybody in your whole neighborhood, that's a problem too.
Now, we have to tip our hat to you because you have done some things that are absolutely amazing. Folks, when you hear the numbers that Rebecca's going to talk about, it's going to blow your mind. But here's one of the first things we want to talk about this morning.
Yes.
Fake computer tech support callers.
Oh, these are exploding. I mean, these are coming more and more. And in fact, I got my first one in 2005, and they didn't call me again. 2008, they didn't call me again. 2011. This time, this was November 28th, I got a call, and I had just gotten home, and so I was running up to my office. It's on the 3rd floor of my house, so I was out of breath. I'm like, oh, what's wrong with my computer? And I started recording it. So I have the recording on my website if they go there later. But
to
basically,
hear what the situation
so
of a
you can
call
hear what
would
I
be.
said.
Now, what were they trying to sell you?
So basically, they weren't selling me anything. They got me on the phone, and they said, your computer has really bad problems, and your antivirus and your anti-malware cannot fix it. So basically, they said, go to this file, and it was my event viewer in my system. And they said, oh, what do you have there? And of course, everybody has an event viewer for their system. And so there's all these different files, and they said, what does that say? And I read some of the files to them, and they said, oh, that's bad. That's going to spread to everyone else who's using your internet service provider, which it won't. But I played along with them because I wanted to see what they would say. And they actually, when I started telling them things, they said, oh, this is so bad, we have to get our manager involved.
Oh,
so they actually passed me off to another person. And of course, he was saying, oh, well, this is terrible. So he got me on, told me to go on to this specific site, and I have that information on my website too if people want to see what they are. I mean, there's many different sites that are bogus.
Now, how far along did you play with these guys? Did you go to the sites that they wanted you to go to, or did you just tell them you did?
I told them I did.
Okay.
So I went there, and of course, they were waiting because if I actually did what they told me to, at a certain point, they could have seen my computer and gotten into it. So I was playing along with them, and I was kind of, you know, saying, oh, well, gosh, what do you mean by that? And I was kind of playing dumb. I was on the call with them for 15 minutes, and they got me right up to the point where when I would hit the enter key, that's when I would actually download from the site that they told me to go to all of the different malware, and it could have been ransomware too.
So you were to the point where you could have opened the doors, but you never opened the door.
And then they were. I could tell he was pretty excited because he's like, "Oh, are you there? You know, okay, now press the enter key." And I said, "Oh, well, where's the enter key?" And then I got to the point where I said, oh, shoot, my internet service went down.
Oh, no.
And he's like, what? And I said, my internet went down. And he said, well, try to go to this site. I said, I can't. The internet went down. I said, oh, MediaCom's out front. You know, my cable, they dug up the cable. So after that, he said, well, can I call you back? And I said, sure, I want to fix this. So in a matter of 13 different days, I got 243 calls.
243?
243
on the same
calls
number
from 14 different numbers. So that was this. So I got, there's how many calls I got from each of these numbers.
Wow.
Now, if you look at this, there are 575 area codes that are not valid area codes. All of those but 3 are invalid area codes. So right there is the first thing that tells you that it's not valid. And I have a list of all the invalid area codes on my website so people can get to that. So they were calling me from this. Now I put in there on number 9, that was a loan company. I put that in there because once people get your calls now,
then
when they sound like
people
you're
are
a
going to
sucker,
start calling.
yeah, they're selling your phone number then to others. So I had all of these different people calling me, and they got to the point where they were starting to yell at me and threaten me. And you know, I want to tell your viewers, you know, if people start telling you this stuff, hang up, because if it's unsolicited, they're crooks. They're scamming you. But you know, they were threatening me. They said they were going to come to my house and they were going to arrest me. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'll meet you at the door, you know. And I said, do you know where I live? And they said yes, but then you know, of course, they couldn't describe anything. But the loan one was interesting, because with that one, after I got all these other calls, I got the call from the loan company, and they told me that I had payments I needed to make on a loan. Of course, I knew I didn't have a loan with them.
Right.
And then they started threatening me too. So my tip to your viewers is, if somebody calls out of the blue and says that they want to help you with your computer, don't believe them, because tech support companies are not going to call you out of the blue. Now, maybe if you hired a service to help you and they call you up, that's one thing, because you've established that relationship yourself. But if someone calls and says that they are helping you to fix your computer, or they're going to make sure that you don't damage everybody else who's using the service, just hang up. Tell them, you know, you're a crook. Go away.
I was going to say, to me, it sounds like a scam right from the get-go, from what they're saying, but other people can fall for it because they're using words that kind of scare you a little.
So now more than ever, if you see a number coming in on your caller ID and you don't recognize the number, now more than ever, it's a sign just to get rid of it. Don't even answer it, because it's going to be possibly one of two things. Either it's going to be a political call, or it's going to be one of these.
Right. Well, and also, if folks want to go to my site and download all of those different area codes that aren't valid, just block those numbers that have area codes that aren't valid.
All right.
And then they won't
okay, so there's other things happening in the holiday season,
oh my gosh,
unfortunately.
This is just exploding. Credit card payment skimmers, and they're getting so clever with how they're putting their skimmers in. You know, now you have the chip on your credit cards if you've got a newer credit card.
Right.
Well, that chip's not going to protect you from a lot of different scams. It'll protect you against some, but these skimmers can still be used to collect your information. So here's an example of one. Now, on the left is a valid reader at like an ATM or something like that. But look on the right. Isn't that a subtle difference?
It's sticking out a little bit.
It's sticking out a little bit. So if you notice something that's kind of odd and it's like, oh, that's different, you know, that might be a skimmer. That's a skimmer that's collecting the same information as you're scanning.
Would you be able to just pull that out?
Well, they've attached it, and they usually attach it pretty quickly. But yeah, you would be able to pull it out if you knew how to pull on it.
Okay.
The right points to pull at. At a gas pump, this is something else too, things to look at. You know, if somebody's been messing with the gas pump, a lot of times the security seal is broken.
You see that, yeah.
Yeah, or
Northie has a seal on those.
Yeah, so look for that seal. If the seal is broken or something looks weird about the seal, that means that it's probably been tampered with. And they're so quick with putting these skimmers on the card readers and also on the pumps. It's incredible. Now, these are clever because what they did was they attached another device directly beside where you would scan, slide your card through. So as you're sliding your card, it's collecting the data before or after you slid it through the real reader. So it's
double dipping.
It's double dipping. So it's catching it there. So if you see something that looks like it's odd with extra type of hardware, avoid that, because that might be a skimmer. Go in and tell the folks inside it's there. Oh, cameras. This is another thing. You might have a chip on your card, but if you are entering your PIN number at an ATM, or you also have other type of information you're entering and you have the card number there, these hidden cameras are recording that.
So they say use your hand to block it.
Yes,
really do it.
It really helps. So, use your hand to cover up when you're putting that in there. And also you could see something that just looks quite clunky, like the ATM skimmer. I mean, that looks pretty obvious, but if you're traveling and you need money, why you might think, oh, I'm going to do this quick, and you might not even notice it. So stay aware of that. And I have a lot of other tips out on my website. There's just so many things going on right now, though.
privacyprofessor.org for more information. And just real briefly, if you are getting a drone, just want to touch on this. You do need to register.
Register your drone. That went into effect last month. So register it now. If you think, well, how are they going to know whether or not I have one? Well, if you start flying your drone around the neighborhood and people get kind of, concerned because of privacy, you might not be videotaping them, but they wouldn't know that.
It's one call.
It only takes one call to report you, so then they would come to you.
Okay.
Wonderful. There's how you get a hold of Rebecca, privacyguidance.com for more information, and privacyprofessor.org. Of course, great stuff as always. Thank you so much.
And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and all that.
Thank you. Wonderful.